I did my presentation on teen anxiety. My research question was, has anxiety in teens become more prevalent in the recent decade, and if so, why? So to start off, I researched what is anxiety, and I learned that there are 6 kinds of diagnosable anxiety. There's general anxiety, which is just kind of a constant feeling of anxiousness and kind of unrest. There's PTSD, which can be triggered by traumatic events. There's panic attacks, which are basically just bursts of almost bipolar anxiety to like an extreme extent. There's social phobia or social anxiety, which means you don't like social settings. There's OCD, which can be fear of germs or like needing everything to be straight. And then there's general phobias. So nowadays, nearly 1 in 3 children aged 13 to 18 experience some form of anxiety. And in my research, I found that there are 4 main stressors that cause these anxieties, which are social pressure, school, parental expectations and parental pressure, and media and technology. And most teens don't deal with phobia, PTSD, or OCD disorders, but instead they deal with the more common ones that have to do with kind of teenage problems. So social anxiety, school anxiety can be caused by overassigning, being confused, kind of like an overwhelming of work and confusion, which also leads and connects to social climates. And social climates are difficult to navigate for teens, and relationships can go bad, and there can be drama, which also causes more anxiety. And it can often link to school, and there's a lot of cross mesh, especially in high schoolers our age. Parental expectations can cause stress too, and parental expectations are kind of the overlying umbrella of everything that they kind of push you to expand your social bubble, to be better in school, to be smarter, just all sorts of things that are pushed by parents. So current events and media that you see on technology often make you feel as if you are, trying to think of the word, not big enough to do anything. So uncontrollable or massive events make people feel like they cannot change the world, and that it kind of gives them an impending feeling of doom. Recently, you've all had COVID-19, which in the height of its quarantining, we all had to sit at home, and mental health went through the drain because we couldn't do anything about it, and we are stuck in a situation that is out of our control. There's also climate change, and recently the election that has just made all of that kind of seem to come to a head, and it has a massive effect and is never taken out of our faces by media. The opposition say that most cases are self-diagnosed or falsely diagnosed, or that people even are just becoming less calloused to certain situations like these traumatic events on the previous slide. This is wrong, however, because even though there are instances where people are falsely diagnosed or diagnose themselves, most people with anxiety have the illness. And being hardened has nothing to do with what anxiety is being triggered by these days, because where in previous generations it's been World War II, the Cold War, it's been all these huge acts of violence. We have to deal with localized terrorism, with new problems that have never been faced with us before, with media taking control. And even with school, education systems have advanced by leaps and bounds since the turn of the decade, and it causes a lot of stress in that case. This is a YouTube video that kind of describes some of the reasons why teens are experiencing anxiety. sorry.
All the statistics show that depression and anxiety has been increasing at least 10% a year amongst teens since about 2010. And in recent years, the curve is increasing, it's getting steeper. And therefore, a lot of people are asking, what's gone wrong here? And the church has got to ask these questions as well. I think if we look at the cultural changes, it comes down to, I think, first of all, pressure. Our teens are under enormous pressure, academically especially, sports also. So there's pressure from parents, school, colleges, sometimes peers, sometimes themselves, and that puts an incredible stress on the body and the mind. So there's that huge pressure. There's instability. So our teens have been raised in a post 9/11 world. Wars, terrorism, bombings, school shootings, a lot of social instability, even our political institutions, very unstable and incredible tension, partisanship, sense of America coming apart. And that's, I think, in other countries as well. There's family instability, an awful lot of family breakdown. So that's another big part of this, instability. Thirdly, technology, the hyper-stimulation, the brain never getting downtime, information overload. I don't think our brains were built to have so much data in it.
So, my experiences and my opinions with anxiety. I have been very lucky with my anxiety experiences. I have had it. I have had panic attacks. I've had stress from finals. I've had all sorts of minor anxiety cases, but it's never been constant. Most people I know and some of my closest friends have chronic and major anxiety that will sometimes cripple them for weeks at a time because they feel like they have no control over their own life. I think the biggest stressor is school. It often feels like a relentless stream of often useless and monotonous assignments and confusion, especially with being online. I haven't had a chance to really kind of be face to face and figure things out instantly. It's been over email and text and all that, but with everything going on in this world right now, like, I've been lucky to only have the cases that I've had. And for a solution, I think that anxiety is a difficult topic to tackle as a whole because every person is unique. I think schools and state need to require mandatory mental health checkups with people so treatment can be individualized, or you can just be sent on your way if you're okay. I know some people don't mesh well with therapists, but sometimes it's just nice to feel like you are cared for. I think schoolwork, especially homework, needs to be reduced and grading systems need to be more lenient. Yes, I excel in school on occasion. Sometimes I let myself go, but there are students that drop out or skip school just because they feel like they are so far behind that they can't do anything about it. I also think media needs to be controlled. People do have a right to know what is going on in the world and how, like, kind of traumatic events again, and social media, cyberbullying, all that. I think it needs to be limited because I feel like people at all hours of the day are being stimulated with horrible events, people, connections, and it, like the guy said in the video, there's no downtime for them. And I think if these three solutions is a start, I think that anxiety could eventually be reduced and be solved altogether. There's my works cited, and thank you for watching.